Jeremy Cordeaux, Peter Clayton is behind the camera. Welcome to the garage and the Court of Public Opinion. The 15th, I reckon we're at. Very close to Christmas. Here in Adelaide, I don't know about where you are because you could literally be anywhere in the world. But we have quite a few street, I won't say decorations. Well, they are decorations because they are trees. The most beautiful display I saw today of jacarandas, these wonderful spreading trees. I don't know where they came from. Maybe it's South Africa, maybe it's Africa, I don't know. But they love this time of the year, and the more humid it is, the better they flower. Hence they do better up in the sort of tropics and subtropics. But even here, they are outstanding. I drove past on Unley Road, a lovely old stone house which they've turned into a restaurant called the Lenderhauser. Lenderhauser? Anyway, I think it's a Swiss restaurant. I've never been there, or if I have, I can't remember. But right there in the front, there's this huge, great explosion of purple flowers on this wonderful jacaranda tree that could be 100 years old, but it's wonderful. We're coming up to a very nice time of the year. We really are. And we should enjoy it. Have you seen that lovely TV ad for Telstra? Sort of nothing to do with the telephone or, you know, yellow pages or white pages or anything. It has a reindeer in it. A reindeer. And I looked at it. Pete, if I send that to you, can you get that on the screen?
Yes, most certainly, yes.
Okay. Will we do it now or show it at the end?
Whatever you'd like to do, Jeremy. Take it on at the end.
Oh, we'll put it on at the end.
Yeah.
But it's a great ad. I don't know whether it sells any telephones or subscriptions or whatever, but it reminds me a lot of the John Lewis Christmas ads, and I might try and find one of those for you for tomorrow. Always very clever. They're very expensive. They're long. When I say long, I suppose 2 minutes long, something like that. But beautiful, beautiful Christmas ads. Anyway, have a look at the Telstra ad which we'll run at the end of this show. We're not charging them, they're not sponsors, they're not anything. They've just put this up for Christmas, and I thought if you hadn't seen it, you might like to. Oh, by the way, Chairman Dan Andrews has been blackballed. Blackballed. Members of the Portsea Golf Club, apparently, they don't want him. Feelings are running high. Well, until recently, he was the Premier of Victoria. Not wanted here, seems to be the sign, yet at every election he seemed to get more popular. Golly. Meanwhile, I see that the Greens in Victoria want children to take off from school, a strike, to attend a rally on an upcoming Friday in support of the Palestinians. Strange place, Victoria. A political party want children to strike in support of what looks a lot to me like rent a crowd or rent a flag. A vile, I don't know, I mean, I don't argue with people's right to demonstrate. Anti-Semitic? Could be. A lot of people would see it that way. And breaking news, there is a bill before the Victorian Parliament. We're getting to the only in Victoria section of living, I think. A bill before the Victorian State Parliament next year to protect all ascension creatures. Now, ascension creatures. Now, when you read this bill and what they're trying to do, the animal activists, and I'm an animal activist, but I'm not crazy. It means, as I understand it, an end to having a pet. No more farm animals. You can't go fishing. Crustaceans, oysters, crabs, lobsters, you can't touch them. No meat. Means no leather, no farming. I'm a great animal lover. And sure, I would never make it as a farmer because I just couldn't do all those things that farmers do. But this is truly madness. But it's getting the serious attention of the lawmakers of Victoria. Big spike in COVID cases in South Australia, 50% increase in 1 week. I haven't heard anyone tell us exactly what strain it is, but 50% in 1 week from, let me get this right, 546 cases the last week in August. Last week, 1,691. That was last week. 2,493 this week. What's going on here? Even without the cruise ship. Look out. And if you're over 75 and your last needle vaccination was 6 months ago or longer, get a booster. And I will go and probably try to do that tomorrow. Adam Bant of the Greens has accused the big banks of hunting like wolf packs. Hunting like wolf packs. What absolute rubbish. The mark of a healthy country is a healthy banking system. You cannot do very much without a solid, secure banking system. Adam, do you want the banks to lose money? Yes, I know. When you see banks making $7 billion profit, and the big four seem to be in that club, the media doesn't help. They could help with the truth. The simple truth is, who gets the $7 billion? Who gets it? The profit. We do. The shareholders. Individuals, yes, but most of all, the superannuation funds to which we all belong, all prosper because of the banks. They're not solely reliant upon their profitability, but it's a big factor. Us. A profitable banking system is essential to an economy and a stable country. Sorry, Adam, your socialist garbage can go live somewhere else. Now, while on the subject of the Greens, they want cannabis made legal. This has been a strongly held belief and plank in their platform for years. Tobacco, well, somebody told me the other day that people still buy cigarettes and they're selling for $60 a packet. $9 a packet in the US, $60 here, people still keep buying tobacco. But sticking with tobacco for a second. Tobacco, its replacement was supposed to be vaping. Now vaping is, I don't know if it's as bad as smoking cigarettes, but it's probably fairly close. No. They say government can make billions of dollars out of pot. Well, they probably can. But listen, fellas, government aren't there to make money. That's not what they're there for. This is probably how poker machines made it into our lives. This is crazy thinking. But the vaping business That was simply supposed to be a method of getting people off smoking cigarettes. But it's become endemic now. 500,000 people a day go vaping, I believe. I don't know why. Lungs are great for air, not for smoke or vapour or anything else. 500,000 people a day, mostly kids. Now the problem is the government dropped the ball because it was supposed to be something available to help people on prescription, help people to give up cigarettes. But somehow, well, somebody forgot to dot the I's across the T's or something. Again, a salutary warning as to just how vulnerable we are to cyber attacks. This time it's the ports of our nations. And it's not just Australia, it's everywhere. But we're reminded here, particularly locally, because DP World, big company, they handle 40% of the goods that come into and out of this country. 40%. We're talking about our supply chain. If this cyber attack results in a shortage of goods, and it's likely to, prices will go up, which will add to inflation. That's a supply side problem which can also fuel inflation. Shortages of goods leading up to Christmas, that's going to echo right around the economy. 70,000 shipping containers stranded. You get the picture? Now this whole digital system works wonderfully well, as we found out with Optus, works wonderfully well until it doesn't. And then, of course, you put on top of this the enemy within, and I'm talking about the militant trade union movement, the CFMEU, or it's the CFMMEU, or whatever they call themselves. I wouldn't suggest that they were behind this hack for 1 minute, but they have jumped in to make things worse. For God's sake, they're Australians, aren't they? What's wrong with this country? Well, some of the people in it. These people are holding to ransom a company that not only keeps this country running and supplied, but also a very valuable link in our prosperity. I don't know what we do. You'd have thought that the unions, who would be great beneficiaries of the stevedoring industry, would be in there to try and help sort out the problem. But no, they're going to make it worse. How much time have I got, Pete?
Oh, keep going, mate. Yeah.
All right, one more. Because there are considerable advantages in claiming to be Aboriginal, well, you've got go to the head of the queue, fast track.
I thought I might try it.
Well, you can. Nobody says you have to be Aboriginal, you just have to tick the box. There are discounts, bonuses. Why, I don't know, because nothing should be decided on race. That's racism. But people seem to think claiming Aboriginality without any rhyme or reason or justification, no checks, no balances, it sounds to me like somebody wants to get the numbers up. Still only 3% of the population. But if you really looked at it and delved into it, it could only be perhaps something like 1.5% of the population. A case in point is Kayam Ma. Kayam Ma is the Labor Party Attorney General here in South Australia, who announced, I don't know whether it was just before the election or just after the election, but he announced that he was an Aboriginal. Now, for some reason, Andrew Bolt has taken up the story on Sky News. He says that Kayam Ma, after his considerable investigation, I don't know why he even started looking, I don't know. But he says Kayam Ma can't show or demonstrate any Aboriginal blood in his family on either side. Now, as I said, I don't know why Andrew went looking in the first place. I do remember that years ago he made a comment that a certain Aboriginal activist in Tasmania, he said something like he was as white and blue-eyed as he was, or some such remark or comment. And he was sued for $500,000. And this bloke in Tasmania won. So clearly one has to be careful. But does it matter to anyone that somebody simply claims Aboriginality? I don't know. But it does beg the question, with taxpayers' money at stake, why aren't people required simply to prove that they have Aboriginal blood or breeding or heritage? What is wrong with that? I think it would be a good thing to do. Let me give you a couple of dates and then throw to that nice Telstra commercial. Oh dear, where are we? 1903, Po Yi became China's last emperor. He was 2 years and 9 months old. Last emperor. Golly. C.W. McCall was born in Iowa. He had one huge hit, country singer, and that was Convoy. Anyway, he was born on this day in 1928. Gone to God by now, I would think. Petula Clark was born. What a lovely lady she was. Had her on my nighttime show. A couple of times, in fact. Beautiful, beautiful lady, Petula Clark. She was born in Surrey on this day in 1934. Christopher Pate was born, the Australian actor, 1952. British liner Queen Elizabeth. She ended her first passenger voyage on this day in 1968. No, actually, it was her last. Yeah, ended her last passenger voyage in 1968. Ghostbusters started on Australian screens, 1984. Tyrone Power died of a heart attack in Spain. He was filming Solomon and Sheba. Golly, 1958. Mantovani was born in Italy in 1905. The City Cross Shopping Centre in Adelaide, which they recently pulled down. Don't know if they've rebuilt it. Renovations, they call these things, of course. 1983, Joe Brown was born in Victoria. For many years, he was the ABC race caller in Melbourne. He called his first race, Melbourne Cup, in 1948, when Rimfire beat Dark Mane. There's some horse racing trivia for you. 1919. By the way, down at Small Whitfield, the auction place here in Adelaide, speaking of racing, there was Johnny Lett's memorabilia. I don't even know what it sold for, but there was the saddle that he had, that he rode on his last race, which I think was a winning race. He won lots and lots of races, Johnny Letts. Favourite son of South Australia. And there was a whip, and there were his colours and some boots. I'm sure they've gone to a museum or a good home. The Sullivans started on Australian television in 1976. Lorraine Bailey was Grace. Dave was Paul Cronin. Their children, Terry, Richard Hughes. Kitty was Susan Hannaford. John was Andrew McFarlane. And Tom was Stephen Tandy. And that was 1976, the year I came to Adelaide from Sydney. Isaac Pittman's System of Shorthand was published under the title of Stenographer's Second Hand. That was in 1837. His brother Jacob is buried in Rookwood Cemetery in Sydney, which, by the way, is the largest cemetery in the world, Rookwood Cemetery. Anyway, he's buried there, where his epitaph is written in phonic shorthand. Very useful thing, shorthand. I wish I had had the good sense to learn it back then, but I didn't. We'll leave it there. And I'll throw to the commercial. It's a Telstra commercial for Christmas, to get us kind of in the mood. Thank you for being with us. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Peter Clayton and I'll be back tomorrow. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.
This happens every December. Struck down severe lack of funds. But honey, there ain't no value like the comfort of your arms. I don't need anything else this Christmas. All of the gifts in the world won't do. I won't be asking for much this Christmas. I'll just be asking for you. I'll just be asking for you.
Hello? Santa?